So, hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick video, talk about a couple of things. I did upload a video earlier. I mirrored it from the Watchman on the End Times Watchman off of BitChute, and talks about Zionism, Talmudic Judaism, stuff like that. And I just wanted to tell you guys that a lot of people don't understand that the Pharisees of Jesus's time were Talmudic Jews. They followed the Babylonian Talmud, and it's the same group that's running the country of Israel today. So, anybody that tells you to give money to Israel, to bless Israel, you really need to question that, because there's different groups in Judaism. There's Sephardic Jews, Orthodox Jews, Zionist Jews. There's different groups, and one of them is the Synagogue of Satan, and that happens to be the one that's in control right now. The Noahide laws are the laws that they're going to use. The United Nations has already declared that they're going to run the global one world government under Noahide law, and ironically, the death penalty for idolatry under the Noahide laws is decapitation. So, I wanted to give a shout out to Amber and Tim over at Fallen World Films. They had said something about looking forward to my next video, so here you go. I figured I'd make one. Unfortunately, I still don't have edit software on my laptop, and I'm just using a tripod in my phone for camera, so you're just gonna have to bear with me. I don't have reference material to look up, and I'm not always the best at remembering Bible verse addresses and stuff like that. So I wanted to address something that's really kind of important. So the name of my channel is Mo Tiber, so Mark of the Beast Resistance, right? And the reason for that is because I'm a firm believer that the pre-trib rapture is a false teaching. I've done a lot of study on it. All the evidence points to Darby and the Schofield Bible. The Schofield Bible was used in a lot of Bible colleges. It still is. That's why a lot of these pastors teach the pre-trib rapture. Not to mention the fact that, are you going to put money in the collection plate if you got to go buy food and, protection and get ready for surviving a 7-year period? Probably not so much. The fly away doctrine, hey, you're not going to be here anyway. It's a really dangerous thing, because, you can go ahead and take this Jim Jones juice. It can't be the mark of the beast because the rapture hasn't happened yet, right? Or, hey, you can go ahead and take that microchip in your hand because, hey, the rapture hasn't happened yet, right? So that can't be the mark of the beast, right? No, not right. The main scripture that's used to support the pre-trib rapture is the, 2 will be in a field and 1 will be taken, and then the other one is, will be transformed in the twinkling of an eye, right? Well, that's all true. That's all true. But 2 Corinthians, I think it's 15:52, clearly states that it'll happen at the last trump. There aren't any trumps after the last one, right? It's going to happen all at once in the twinkling of an eye. He's going to come back, take everybody up, we're all going to be transformed, then he's going to cleanse the earth with fire. I mean, it all happens all at once. But that means that you're going to be here for the 7 years. And 2 Thessalonians, I forget the verse, the address, but it says, again, forgive me, I don't have reference material, I'm just kind of working on the fly here, but it clearly states that do not be deceived, none of these things will happen until the man of perdition is revealed, right? Well, that means the Antichrist comes first. So there goes the pre-trib rapture, right there. It's either going to be mid or post. I don't see any evidence for the mid-trib rapture either. That's just another, I don't want to go through the bad times. People always say, well, Jesus isn't going to beat up his bride. and they conveniently ignore every single verse about refining by fire, refining the silver from the dross, or dross, or however you say it, God, he's not going to beat up his church, but he's not going to accept a bunch of lukewarm believers either. People that just caved under pressure and did what they had to do, The problem is that people are listening to what man's teaching and they're not reading their Bible. They're not going in there and looking and saying, wait a minute, this don't make sense, I was looking at Daniel earlier today about the sacrifice and it stops, when the sacrifice stops, and then how many days until the abomination of desolation. And that's 3.5 years. But it never says when those sacrifices start. Another thing that's really important is, a lot of people are caught up on Obama being the man, and the truth is the Jews are not going to crown somebody their Messiah unless he's Jewish. And when you get into like the Islamic scriptures about eschatology or end times teaching, they got a guy called the Mahdi and another guy called the Dajjal. And, again, the Islamic, the Muslims aren't going to accept somebody who's not from the line of Abraham either. So, I don't know. I'm still stuck on Jared Kushner signed the Abrahamic Peace Accords on September 11th of all dates, right? September 11th of 2020, and that's technically peace in the Middle East right there. And if you're paying any attention to what's going on at the Temple Mount, there was a record number of pilgrims that went to the Temple Mount this year, a record number. And there's people that are actively calling for, sacrifices to start. And, I just think that there's a lot of left behind, movies and books and, Hal Lindsey's The Late Great Planet Earth and stuff like that, which I've read a lot of them. I've read all of them, actually, most of them anyway. And, people have this narrative in their head about how things are going to go. And I just think that it's not biblically accurate. And you can't really find evidence for it. The whole concept that we're going to have to like sign a piece of paper and pledge allegiance to the man, I don't find any evidence for that either. There's a lot of movies that, they show him coming in a room and, he tortures you and you got to, finally, decide to follow him or not. And it just, that's not how it's going to happen, man. It's just not how it's going to happen. Worshiping him is going to be worshiping his system, accepting his system. The Bible was really clear on what's happening and what's going to happen. And if you can't look around and see the one world government taking shape, if you can't see the what's going on in Russia, and, I firmly believe that we're a couple of years into the first 3.5 years of peace, right? Where there'll be wars and rumors of wars, right? Because that's what's going on, there's, peace, when they just say peace, then sudden destruction will come upon them, I think that we're in the first 3.5 years of peace, and things are going to get really bad here really soon. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, you got war, famine, pestilence, and death, right? Well, we got war going on, got famine coming up. It ain't going to take long for pestilence and death to follow. So, I'm not making this video to convince anybody or push my beliefs on anybody. I'm a firm believer that God's plan is going to play out no matter what. I don't think that, you got channels out there that are calling for, open revolt and revolution and war, take the power back, and, we can stop it if we just vote for this guy. And, none of that's going to happen. That's like saying that we can somehow, stop God's plan. And, I firmly believe that once he tipped over that hourglass and started that timetable, that we're on a one-way path. And, I hope that everybody's getting ready for it. I hope that, people are really starting to think about it. They're talking to other people and spreading the gospel, getting people to accept Jesus. I had a conversation with the lady the other night about the Jim Jones juice and what that means. And, I don't know. I don't know. I know that it's not a good thing and that it's killing people and, all the nanotech and, all that stuff. Who knows? Who knows? There's a lot of talk now about the microchip coming back. Oh, contactless payment and you can open your car door and, all that stuff. I know that he's going to force everybody to take it, or if you don't take it, you're going to the camp. That's just the way it's going to be. War could be the intro to that, but again, it doesn't say, well, he's going to force everybody to take it and then 7 years later, there ain't no scripture that says that. There's no verse that says that, all the theories about the end times are really man's interpretation of the Bible. When you read the verses, there really isn't a timeline in there. There's the 3.5 years of peace and 3.5 years of war, and then the 3.5 years from the day that the sacrifices start to the day that they end. But who knows when they're going to start? They could start next week, so that means 3.5 years. And I don't know. I just really wanted to. Excuse me. I ain't even gonna cut that. I can't. But I just really wanted to make this video. Tim and Amber over at Fallen World Films, had said something about looking forward to my next video, and I've been kind of really thinking about making something on the pre-trib rapture and just explaining my views on it. So here you go. I don't think the flyaway doctrine is true. I think that's a version of the prosperity gospel to make you feel good about being a Christian, because you're not going to be here. No pain for you, right? But that really doesn't explain why he told us everything that was going to happen, right? It doesn't really explain why he told us not to take the mark of the beast, and why he told us about what was going to happen with the abomination of desolation and all that stuff, and another thing about that too, it says that the abomination of desolation will be set up in the temple of God. And, I think about that a lot, because there's a channel that I watch that they point out that the temple of God is in us. It's in us. So the abomination of desolation could very well be, genetic manipulation, because we're made in God's image. So, and the truth is, we don't know where this technology came from. Fallen angel tech, Nephilim tech, whatever you want to call it. Because I also believe that they're real. They're disembodied spirits of the Nephilim. No, I don't think so. I think that they're real flesh and blood beings. I think they've got, pretty much unlimited lifespans. They're immortal, live forever, whatever. Who knows? Maybe they're robotic. I have no idea. I just don't think that, I know that we're dealing with spirit beings that influence us, but we have spirits too. And, there's a lot of evidence that people can astral travel and all that stuff. We're not supposed to, but there's a lot of evidence that, people can. So maybe we're talking about physical beings that just know how to astral travel because they're doing things that God doesn't want them to do. And, they're right here, right now, influencing us day in and day out. And the same thing could be said for angels, that spiritual warfare. Another thing real quick before I go that I wanted to point out, the verse about we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and spiritual darkness in high places. If you look at the Greek for that, it's not necessarily just spiritual beings. It can be physical too. Literally talking about the government systems of this world. And kind of gets back to what I was talking about in the beginning about who really controls the world. If you didn't watch that video that I put up earlier that I mirrored, I highly encourage you to watch it. It explains a lot, and it's all easily verifiable. I don't really talk about that stuff much because I know how it looks right off the bat. You know, oh my gosh, you hate these people. I don't hate anybody. You know, I hate evil. I hate evildoers. I hate people that, you know, think that they're chosen to rule over others, you know. Um, and I think that's appropriate, you know. But I still don't wish death or harm on anybody. So I don't know. If you haven't watched that video, check it out. Thanks for watching this one. Please keep me in prayer, you know. On the personal note, things still, you know, I'm still here by myself, and my wife's still over there, and she apparently wants to continue with the divorce, so that's kind of where we stand right now. You know, I'm doing everything I can on a daily basis to get my life back in order. I start work next Monday at a pretty decent job, so really looking forward to that because I spent a lot of time in my own head. But just keep us in prayer and pray that God's will be done, because it's going to be done anyway. So I thank all you guys for watching. I love each and every one of you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. You know, my name's Darren. This is the Mark of the Beast Resistance, and you should be Mo Tiber too. Have a good day.